Welcome to another edition of Daily Airline News, focusing on the search for MH370. I'm Jeffrey Thomas, and good afternoon to my co-host Richard Godfrey in Frankfurt, Germany.
And good evening to you in Perth, Australia.
Thank you. And we have some new news on MH370. Many of you following the latest developments in the MH370 case have expressed concern that the search conducted from February 23rd to March 28 may not resume in November. Ocean Infinity arrived in the search area on February 23rd, I should say, then departed for Fremantle on February the 28th and arrived back in the search area on March 11 and left on March 28. A 6-day on-site operation followed by an 18-day on-site operation totaling 24 days in the search area. We've been working hard to get clarification, and we can now confirm, thanks to a reliable source in the United States, that Ocean Infinity will return to the search area in November. They will return to the search area in November. This is wonderful news for the relatives and friends of those lost, Richard.
Indeed, it certainly is, Jeffrey. And November is coming up fast. It's only a few months away.
It is very close. Now, Richard, you have an update on the current status of the Ocean Infinity ships, do you not?
Yes, and we've got a table that we can show as a screenshot, and we'll also include it in the description. So Ocean Infinity have got 16 ships, and that includes two new vessels, which are still being fitted out in Vung Tau in Vietnam. There are currently 6 ships underway at sea and 10 in port at the moment. And we'll keep our eye on these ships and keep you updated on the status. The key projects at the moment are in the North Sea, the Baltic Sea, the Norwegian Sea, off the coast of Portugal, and finally a big project off the coast of Guyana in South America. And some of the ships are involved in sea trials, and obviously new ships and equipment are also being tested and checked out.
So, Richard, for those just joining our channel or new to our channel, could you give us a quick overview of MH370's flight path?
Sure. And we go back to March the 8th, 2014, 11 years ago, and MH370 was en route from Kuala Lumpur to Beijing with 239 people on board, and has a satellite tracking system using Inmarsat data. There was also a limited amount of civilian and military radar coverage, and that showed the aircraft turning back across Malaysia and out into the Malacca Strait, and then turned again down into the southern Indian Ocean. And it carried on flying for 6 hours in the Indian Ocean. There were two major search efforts which followed. The first was led by the Australian Joint Agency Coordination Centre, and then the second one was led by Ocean Infinity. And together they scanned 230,000 square kilometers of seabed between 2015 and 2018, and they were using side scan sonar technology and autonomous underwater vehicles, AUVs. And no record was found on the ocean floor, but we have found nearly 50 pieces of debris, including a flaperon from the aircraft and several other large pieces, and they were all washed ashore in places like Réunion and Madagascar and Mozambique and other areas on mainland Africa like South Africa and Tanzania.
Mm. Richard, your whisper tracking combined with refined work from other groups is pivotal in guiding this new search. Can you explain briefly?
Yeah, Whisper's a new technology, and it's actually designed for radio signal propagation. There are thousands of radio amateurs around the world, and they use low power transmitters and receivers. And since 2009, they have been building this database called the Whisper Net database, and you get lots of information about signal propagation, signal strength, frequencies in that database. Now, when an aircraft passes through these signals, it can momentarily disturb the transmission. So it's like, disturbing a tripwire when you cross it. And the Whisper network will pick up these disturbances. They might be reflections or deflections uh, of these radio waves. And what I've found from the WhisperNet database is around 130 anomalies which were recorded during the time that MH370 was flying into the southern Indian Ocean. And we've been able to cross-reference this with the Inmarsat satellite data and other the data that we have. And the projected location is close to the so-called seventh arc, which is defined by the Inmarsat satellite data. And it places the final location at 29.128 degrees south, 99.934 degrees east.
So, Richard, can you give us a snapshot of the searches for MH370 for the viewers who aren't across what's been happening over the last 11 years?
Yeah. So we have a nice screenshot with a map of what's been going on.
Mm.
The initial search was a surface search, and that was led by Australia together with China and Malaysia. And it began in the South China Sea, but then shifted down to the Indian Ocean after the Inmarsat data showed the aircraft had turned around and had carried on flying for a total of 7 hours and 37 minutes. The air and sea search in the southern Indian Ocean was massive. Showed a graphic of it now and covered a huge area. They started off considering 1 million square kilometers and they narrowed it down, but they still covered 200,000 square kilometers or more. Then there was an underwater search phase one from 2015 to 2017, which was run by the Australian authorities, first mapping the seabed and then looking for signs of the wreckage. And that ended without success. That was run by a gentleman called Pete Foley,
Mm.
who was the project director. And Ocean Infinity's first mission, 2018, was a no find, no fee contract. And they deployed further equipment and ships and AUVs and scanned another 112,000 square kilometers. And by the end of all of that, about $200 million dollars US had been spent on the search efforts. But finally, the mission was suspended.
Yeah. Certainly an amazing search effort. Richard, the debris from MH370 has sparked some heated debate. The first confirmed piece was found on Reunion Island in June 2015. Can you summarise the key findings on this debris?
Sure. So No debris trail has yet been detected by satellite imagery or from the air. So all we know is what we have found that turning up on different beaches around the Indian Ocean. And during the time that they were doing the surface search, there were two cold fronts with swells up to 4 meters high, which were passing through the area. And they only started after some delay. And with that kind of wind and weather, debris on the surface will rapidly disperse over a large area. But nevertheless, we found almost 50 confirmed pieces of debris, and we're showing a screenshot of that list of those items, and we can include that also in the description for those who want to go in more depth.
Mm.
And we have to really point out our colleague Blaine Gibson, and he was guided by Professor Charita Patiarachi of the University of Western Australia. And he discovered 7 of these pieces himself, but he, more importantly, motivated individuals in the area to hand in any items that they found and thought maybe from an aircraft. And, more than half of these items on this list, thanks to Blaine and his efforts.
Yes, he certainly galvanized and is still doing so. Galvanized people to look out for this stuff, and he's done an amazing job. He really has. So um, now, Richard, let's fast forward to May last year when Ocean Infinity presented Malaysia with a new no find, no fee proposal, partially based on your WhisperNet data tracking.
Yes, so that's right. They presented to the Malaysian authorities, the Minister of Transport and his team, a guy called Anthony Loke, and they spent several days in Kuala Lumpur. The Ocean Infinity team were joined by Pete Foley as an advisor from his previous experience. And they were joined by Professor Simon Maskell, who's my co-author on the Whisper technology. And they presented their program, the basically no find, no fee arrangement, and where they plan to search. It took several months, however, to finalize that contract, and the search finally resumed in late February 2025. The agreement runs for 18 months and is focused on the optimal search window, which is between November and April each year.
Mm.
Ocean Infinity CEO Oliver Plunkett said in March of this year, with improved AUV capabilities and better analytics, we believe there is a high probability of locating the aircraft if our proposed search area is accepted.
And of course, we now know it is accepted and the search has resumed, and it will. I mean, they stopped it late March because the swells were getting above 3 meters, I believe, and they had to abandon it. But they will be back, as we said. They'll be back in November, which is fantastic news.
Yes, and
Yeah.
we'll be reporting on any updates between now and November.
Mm,
And when November comes, then we'll be reporting very regularly on what's going on.
absolutely. It'll be a very, very exciting time. So, Richard, thank you very much indeed for your help with this story. It's a great story, a wonderful story, and viewers, thank you for tuning in. Please send in any questions from this particular episode, and we'll be doing more work on MH370 as November draws closer, looking at a whole lot of issues related to the search and how it will be conducted and what they might find. So please do like us, please subscribe to us, please keep those comments coming, and please do keep those fabulous questions coming in. They're really fantastic. Once again, Richard, thank you for your time. Much appreciated.
You're, you're very welcome.
And thank you, viewers, and please do tune in tomorrow. Thank you.